Ever feel like you're working non-stop but not seeing the results you want? What if I told you that 80% of what you do doesn't really matter? In the 80-20 principle by Richard Koch, there's a powerful idea that can completely reshape how you work, think, and live. A small portion of your efforts creates the majority of the results. In today's video, we break down how this principle works and how you can use it to get more done with less stress. The 80-20 principle, also known as the Pareto principle, was first observed by an Italian economist over a century ago. He noticed that 80% of Italy's land was owned by just 20% of the population. Since then, this pattern has been seen everywhere, from economics to nature to everyday life. You find it in your inbox, where maybe just a handful of emails truly matter, while the rest are distractions. Or on your to-do list, where a couple of tasks actually push your goals forward, while the rest keep you feeling busy but don't create meaningful progress. Even in relationships, you may find that a few key people bring you the most joy, support, or insight, while others drain your time and energy. This book takes that observation and shows how it applies to modern productivity and success. The idea is simple. 80% of outcomes often come from just 20% of inputs. Once you start looking for this pattern, you see it everywhere. And that awareness is the first step to making better choices about where to focus your time and energy. Now, the exact numbers aren't the point. It might be 70-30, 60-40, or 90-10. What matters is that there's almost always an imbalance between inputs and outputs, meaning that effort and outcome are rarely proportional. Once you recognize this, you can begin to take full advantage of it. The core lesson is this: focus on the vital few and ignore the trivial many. Let's say you run a business. Chances are 20% of your products bring in 80% of your revenue. 20% of your customers account for most of your profits. 20% of your marketing efforts drive most of the traffic. You can see this in many successful businesses. Apple is a great example. While Apple has a wide range of products like Macs, iPads, and accessories, the iPhone alone generates the majority of the company's revenue. In the first quarter of fiscal year 2025, iPhone sales accounted for around 55% of Apple's overall revenue. Despite being just one product line, it consistently delivers the biggest results. On top of that, a relatively small group of loyal customers make repeat purchases across Apple's ecosystem, fueling long-term profitability. This clearly demonstrates how a small number of offerings or customer segments can drive the majority of impact, a perfect example of the 80-20 principle at work. This same principle applies to your personal life too. A handful of habits, routines, or people likely drive most of your joy or your stress. Instead of trying to improve everything, you're better off identifying the small percentage of what works and doubling down on it. We often believe that success comes from working longer and harder, but this principle flips that idea on its head. Effort and results are not directly connected. Research from Stanford University found that productivity per hour declines sharply when a person works more than 50 hours a week, and drops off so much after 55 hours that there's virtually no point in working anymore. Simply put, more time doesn't always mean more output. In fact, you probably get the biggest results from just a few hours of high-quality work. The times when you're fully focused, creative, and energized. That's when your work has the most impact. So the goal isn't to do more, it's to identify which tasks give you the biggest return and protect your time for those. Ask yourself, when do I produce my best work? What activities move the needle most? What can I stop doing altogether? More complexity usually means more noise, more stress, and less impact. The 80-20 principle emphasizes the power of ruthless simplifications. That means eliminating low-value tasks and saying no more often. Seeing 80% of the tasks you do will only provide minimal results. The key is to eliminate those low-value activities and focus on the 20% that truly move the needle. The fewer things you try to juggle, the better you perform in the few that really matter. It's about doing less, but doing it better. Let's talk about how to use this principle in your everyday life. In work, focus on the 20% of tasks that create 80% of your results. Delegate or delete the rest. In business, double down on your most profitable products or clients. Don't waste time on what barely moves the needle. In your schedule, identify your most productive time of day and protect it. Avoid busy work that makes you feel productive but doesn't drive real results. In relationships, spend more time with the people who uplift and support you. Limit time with those who drain your energy. In money, audit your spending habits. You'll likely find that a few expenses bring the most satisfactions or regret. In learning, focus on the small portion of information that delivers the biggest breakthroughs. Wherever you applied it, the idea is the same. 20% of things generally bring 80% of results, so prioritize those. Whether it's your daily tasks, relationships, or financial decisions, focusing on the small set of inputs that create the largest impact will help you save time, reduce stress, and amplify results. This principle isn't just being lazy or cutting corners. It's about being strategic. Just because you're doing less doesn't mean you're slacking. It means you're working smarter. Another common myth is that this principle only applies to business or productivity. But the truth is, it can improve nearly every part of your life, from your health to your relationships to your peace of mind. The real challenge is having the courage to focus and the discipline to eliminate what doesn't matter. So, what's the key takeaway? A small portion of your actions, relationships, and efforts create the majority of your results. You don't need to do more. You just need to identify what truly matters and do more of that. Success doesn't come from grinding non-stop. It comes from clarity, focus, and working in alignment with what gives you the highest return. In other words, do less, get more. If this video helped you rethink how you use your time and energy, give it a like and subscribe for more powerful ideas. Drop a comment below and let me know what's one area of your life where you're going to apply the 80-20 principle starting today. Thanks for watching, and remember, focus on the vital few and forget the trivial many.